Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? If you're in a live band and you're having trouble getting rebooked at venues or just keeping the crowd there, there's a good chance it's your fault. But that's a good thing because we can fix that. Now, I've been playing in live bands and doing sound for 4 decades, and over that time, I've made a lot of mistakes and I've learned a lot of things. And one of the most valuable lessons I learned is that when we're playing in a live band at a venue, our job is to keep the audience entertained so they stay there and they buy more stuff. If that's not happening, that means we're not doing our job and we have to figure out what's going on, what's wrong. And assuming that it's not problems with things like volume or your set list, which I've covered in other videos, then the problem might not be what you're doing, but what you're not doing. Can you guess what it is? In radio, there's a term called dead air. It's the bane of every radio personnel's existence. And that's when you turn on a station, there's nothing there. And you wait like 1 second, 2 seconds, all right, something's wrong, and you turn to a different station. Now, the situation isn't quite so dire as a live band in a venue, but the principle is the same. You know, one of the things that I suggest that bands do is to record their entire show from the moment you're supposed to start until the moment you're completely done. And go back, don't just listen to that, put it up on like a digital audio workstation, something like that, so you can actually see the waveform and you can see a visual representation of the time when you're not playing music, when you're supposed to start but you haven't, or the space between songs, all that kind of stuff. And you start to see the patterns emerge in the amount of time that you're not actually doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is entertaining the audience. And I bet you're going to find out that those periods are longer and more frequent than you think there are. One of the big killers of momentum is the time between songs. Just a lot of dead air there. And you're probably taking much longer breaks between songs than you think you are. One of the people I've had the pleasure of playing with is this drummer named Ray Pelagi. You might not know who he is, but he worked with Mike Judge and did almost all of the sound editing for Beavis and Butthead and Daria. Now, he's in another band now with his wife, Victoria, who also is a member of the Tom Tom Club. They're great people. And one of the things about Ray is that as soon as the song is over, you can hear him count. I can hear his voice in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he gets the band going instantly. If he's not doing that, the rare times when he's not doing that in their band, Victoria is on the mic and she is working the audience, doing all the things that I'm terrible at. Hey, it's great to see everybody. Looks like we've got some dancers here. Don't sit down because if you like that one, you're going to love this one. And you can hear Ray start to count and boom. Instantly, the show goes back on. And that's what the audience wants to hear. Every time that you have that break between songs, that moment of dead air, you're giving them a reason and an opportunity to leave. But if you start playing the next song, even if they're on their way out, they may turn around and say, oh, I love this one. And you keep them there longer. And they might just go back up to the bar or wherever and buy more stuff. Another problem that I notice really frequently is the excessive breaks, or the excessive length of breaks that bands take. And so I got news for you. Unless you're in the Grateful Dead or Phish, you got no business taking these really long breaks. You can't get away with the 25, 40, 35, 45-minute breaks. It's just not acceptable. I don't care if you're playing in a band that covers their songs. It's still not cool. Breaks should be, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes is starting to push it. Any longer than that, you've really lost them. And you can watch during a break. You can watch in real time. People leave and people go home while the band is not getting their butts back on stage. So as soon as that song ends, I'm running to the bathroom. I haven't smoked in 12 years. If you're a smoker, you should be grabbing your lighter and heading right outside, doing what you have to do, go back. If you need to get something else from the bar, go do that. I grab a Diet Coke, come right back. And get back, on stage. And you might say, well, I'm schmoozing with the audience and I'm building a rapport that way. That's great for the few people that you talk to. But everybody else suffers. And ultimately, you suffer because you lost a crowd and you're not going to get asked back. You're not going to have, as many people to play with, or two, and you're not going to have, you're not going to be asked back as much. You're not going to be playing as much. There are bands locally here, and not all of them I like as human beings, but they are masters at this, keeping the crowd engaged and moving. And, while you're at it, There's another thing about break, a couple extra other things about those breaks. As the very second that you stop, your set's over and you go on break, put music on your PA right away. Don't wait for the club to put their music back on, because it's going to take you that much longer to get them to turn that music off and to get back, into your next set. And also, while we're at it, if you have the audience on the floor, they're dancing, or you have their rapt attention and they're sitting at their tables and they're clapping, and you've got them in the palm of your hand, and it's the end of your set, I strongly suggest extending that set. You've got them. You've got the momentum. You've got them on the hook. You got them right where you want them. They're happy. The club owner's happy. They're staying. If you break that momentum, you might not get it back. And I have, played in a lot of bands where we did this. In fact, very recently, we didn't take a break all night. We had the audience. We just played one big long set. I can tell you at age 56, that's harder than at age 20. And, but the thing is, were we tired at the end of that? Yes. Did we make the audience happy? Yes. Did they love us? Yes. Was the club owner happy? Yes. Did they ask us back? You bet they did. And so that pays big dividends to, see what the crowd's going on with the crowd, taking the temperature of the crowd, and realize now is not the time to stop. Because at the end of the day, you're being paid to keep them happy. Now, if you want to know another momentum killer that, it's probably one of the biggest momentum killers that can happen in your shows and can really extend time between songs and kill the momentum, watch this video.